Hey there, it's Dr. Lisa Collins, the author of The Truth About Trauma, and I'm happy to be able to share with you today at LlewellynCon about living in peace and strategies for living in peace and not responding to trauma. As I say in my book, The Truth About Trauma, I talk about how found out that I was suffering from trauma responses. First of all, what is trauma? Trauma is your body's way of saying to you that there is a danger or a threat. That could be anything today, right? A danger or a threat. It's our body's natural way to protect us. So that is what a trauma. A trauma is not an emotional response. A trauma in our body is when the rational brain sits down and the emotional brain stands up. Visualize that for a second. The rational brain sits down and the emotional brain stands up and takes over. So the truth about trauma is that every day we could be watching our news outlets. We could be looking at what's going on in the world. When you get that gut punch, when you feel something in your body, that's your body saying there's a threat. So when we are getting those responses, we're often told or taught to ignore our body, to continue on with the task at hand. And so what happens over a long period of time is that these responses begin to color our personalities. I thought I was who I was presenting at, nervous, a little edgy, not liking sudden movements. And I would say to people, that's my edge. Well, and honestly, it's not my edge. What it was responses to things that had occurred in the past that were showing up in my body. So the first thing about trauma in the body is to pay attention to your body, to the sensations in your body. And someone asked me recently, well, what does that mean? What that means is, you know that feeling of when you need to go to the bathroom. You know that feeling when you ignore that you need to go to the bathroom. How about the feeling when you feel something's not right? We ignore that intuition. We say, well, it's nothing. I have this feeling, but it's nothing. We start to honor our bodies by paying attention to our body sensations. And it starts very slowly. One way to do that, tip number one, is that you can sit and allow your mind and your body to be still. Some people say that's impossible. I can never stop. Okay. Well, let's get an on-ramp to this. Can you listen to a meditation while you're doing something else? Where you're focusing on every word of a guided meditation that's being said. That's what I did. I started by listening to meditations on the way to work. I didn't have my eyes closed. I was driving and I was concentrating and paying attention to the road, but listening to the words, the gentle words that were being spoken over over the recording. That's one thing. Another thing is, how about being in nature? There's a co-regulation that happens with the earth. Just walking through the trees, smelling the plants. It's one way to be present. So, are you present with your body? Can you connect to your body? Allow your body to relax. Even if right now, if I did a meditation, a small meditation, let's just try a meditation for a minute. I won't do it for very long. If you can close your eyes, wherever you are, feel yourself on your chair, put both feet flat on the ground. If you could close your eyes, if you feel safe, if you don't, look down at the tip of your nose and take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. In through your nose and out through your nose. And on the in breath, you don't have to say it, but think so. And on the out breath, think calm. So calm. So calm. So calm. One more. So calm. If you were able to participate with me for just that few seconds, I don't even think it was a minute, you can feel a difference in your body. You could feel a remembering. You could feel a settledness in your body. And if you were unable, go ahead and try it in the comfort of wherever the environment is that you would like. And on the in breath, think so. And on the out breath, think calm. What does this do? Well, it brings both sides of the brain together and it makes your body relax. It just makes your body relax. Once your body's relaxed and you're paying attention to sensations in your body, and this didn't happen to me overnight, I took time. I took walks. I listened to music. I did many different things. And in my book, The Truth About Trauma, there are many different kind of examples of things you can do, meditations, rituals, prayers, self-care tools at the end of every chapter. So the body is the first level of healing and being able to pay attention to those responses. And so let's give an example, a real life example. You get that email and all of a sudden you get that gut punch. That's that person you never like to hear from on email, but they've emailed you or they've sent you a text. That gut punch is a trauma response. And what I found in my life is that I had a lot of those and I wanted to get rid of them. I wanted to not have them. And so the first thing I needed to do was pay attention to my body. So that's tool number one, sensations in the body, maybe meditation, guided meditations, nature, embodied art. There's a long list of things you could do to let your body know that you're listening. And when the body does tell you something, like, I don't feel safe here, pay attention to it. That's your body telling you, you don't feel safe here for some reason. It may be a memory, and memories run in the course of our bodies. They're either in interpersonal neurobiology, explicit and implicit memories are running through us all the time. We don't necessarily put our finger on it, but it's there. So we want to pay attention to the body. Another thing, another tip is that our bodies are regulating every day. They're either going from a sympathetic or parasympathetic. Sympathetic nervous system or parasympathetic nervous system, one of them is just like keeping us afloat. Like maybe we'll get a little heightened, and then maybe parasympathetic is, I need to rest and digest. I need a nap. But every day, our bodies are going through things and we're staying resilient. We're staying in a zone. Well, what happens when something is too much, too fast, just too, our body comes out of that resilient zone and is hyper aroused or numbs out. That's called the window of tolerance. And so my question to you is, do you know your window of tolerance? We're still connecting to the body. Your window of tolerance is vital information for you to know. When is too much for me? Well, I'll tell you what too much for me looks like. I could eat a whole bag of potato chips. Not one potato chip, but a whole bag of potato chips. The munchy kind of like, eating potato chips. I don't know if anybody relates to that, but I love potato chips. And it is one of those things that I will mindlessly eat the whole bag. Or are you watching TV shows, binging them back to back? That's a little bit of like numbing out, right? Hyperarousal could look like you're doing everything too fast. Your schedule's overbooked. You never have time to do anything. You tell everyone you're way too busy because you fill up every bit of your time. So these things could happen like at work. where you may snap at someone, or home, you may snap at someone, or you just can't be bothered and you need a nap all the time. Those are ways your body is telling you it's too much, too fast. I need a break. So, paying attention to the body. What is your window of tolerance? Are you paying attention to what is going on, your sensations throughout the day? And do you know your window of tolerance? Okay, so that's the body. So once our body is calm, when I am healing from trauma responses, the next thing I needed to pay attention to was my mind patterns. What was actually going through my mind? And some things would go through my mind that I don't think that I originated, but they would just go through like a bicycle riding through the park. And I was recently on AM Northwest in Portland, and we were talking about mind patterns. And one of the exercises I have in the book is observe your negative thoughts. How many negative thoughts come through your mind just in the morning? Not even in a day, in a morning. What are your negative thoughts? Whose voice is that critical voice that's talking to you? If they're telling you negative things about yourself, about the way you look, it's not your voice. If it's saying you're fabulous, you're lovely, I love you, you're going to do great, that's your voice. So paying attention to our mind is another way of healing, because in a response, I will cycle the negative voices. And one thing that I talk about in The Truth About Trauma is one thing was around weight. When I was growing up, weight was the topic for the women in my family, not for the men. And so I became self-conscious about my weight and thought a lot about my weight and about what I eat. And I wanted to flip that. And how did I start? I started with a meditation focused on the body and the well-being of the body. And one thing I noticed, and I talk about this in the book, is that I had started these meditations, I ate dinner, and when I got up, my stomach growled. Well, that's weird. Why is my stomach growling now? I'm literally pushing away from the dinner table. I ate, I'm not hungry. And it made me very curious. You know, this work is also about curiosity of yourself, right? Of what your needs are. And I did a little work, a little meditation, and my stomach was growling. I had some things going on at work that were troubling because what I realized is that food had become a sense of comfort for me, that I would eat food for comfort, not for hunger, for comfort. Well, for both, probably. And so when I realized that about my body, somewhere in my early life, food became comforting. It's not attached to a trauma, but something happened that food became a blanket. And then I start rewriting the narrative. That's what's so great about healing. You get to rewrite the narrative. You are the director. You are the writer. You are the artist that gets to change the thing that no longer works for you. And that was one of the things that I changed. And that's how I did it. The body sensation, paid attention to what was going on in my body, helped me to work on things that were going on in my mind. A belief system, a negative belief system was going on, that if I wasn't a certain weight, that also was attached. So belief systems, mind patterns. And here's your tool. Take that half a day and count the negative thoughts. Count the negative thoughts. If there aren't any, I love that. I love that. Call me. I want to be your friend. But I had a lot, I could have a lot of negative thoughts during the day, and about yourself or anyone else or any institution or anything, any negativity running through your body. We are what we eat. We are what we eat. And if we're digesting negativity, it's not helping us to live in peace. So paying attention to your body, paying attention to your mind, your thoughts. Once you pay attention to your thoughts, whose voice is that that's talking? And what deep belief systems are attached to it? Also, a tip is I started with Sherry Hubert's book, There Is Nothing Wrong with You. And this particular book, Sherry Hubert is a Zen Buddhist monk, and she wrote this book about our childhood, how our childhood frames our minds and our thinking that there's something wrong with us. It is a great way to start. So if you everything I'm saying sounds like, that's too much, I can't, that book is a great step, and then you will be ready. Lastly, we have the body, we have the mind, and then we have our spirit and soul, right? We have the connect, we want to reconnect with who we really are. And once I start moving stuff out of the way, once I, you know how you throw stuff in the back of the station wagon? Once I start cleaning out the back of my station wagon with the tools that I mentioned, some of those are tools, but many more tools are in the book, The Truth About Trauma. I began to expand spiritually. I began to notice things that were coming my way. I began to be able to hear my higher self. I became a medium during this time. How is that even possible? Well, there was room. There was room. And some of the things that I did once I have to say this too. If there's anyone out there that doesn't believe in anything, that's me. I didn't believe in any of the things that I have used that are in the book about trauma. But I came to believe in them because I was desperate enough and I tried them and they worked. Every one of them worked. So when you clean out stuff, who knows what'll happen? It's like the magic happens. So I'm going to give a couple more tips. I'm going to go back to mind patterns. The tip I'm going to give about deep belief systems in younger selves. Deep belief systems, how do you figure out that I have a deep belief system? Something that's a core belief, like I don't like cooking. You don't know why you don't like cooking. You don't like it. This is the thread we want to pull, right? Is there a belief that's actually not working for you? Is there something that you don't like that's a belief that's not working? And that's the thread we want to pull. And we want to find out what is that belief. We want to go down to the core of it and we want to delete it. We want to delete that belief. And how do you do that? I would say you start with a meditation. I would say get the book, The Truth About Trauma, because it is spelled out for you. But if you don't get it, I'm happy to share with you that deep belief system is deep. So where did it come from is the first thing. Like mine around food, I know where it came from. Once I start to put the pieces together, it came from my childhood. It came from, the women being fat and the men being skinny and everyone criticizing. That's where it came from. Where does that deep belief come from? And then you get to change it. You get to take a quiet moment or get out your journal and you get to change it. That is the great joy of healing these things that stand in our way. They can be removed. And because of that, peace and joy kind of flood in. It's almost like they were waiting, like waiting for space to flood in. It will totally flood in. The other thing, younger selves. Now, I didn't believe in younger selves. I didn't, it's a tool in the book. But do you ever see someone acting like a 5-year-old? I mean, in my 50-year-old body, 60-year-old body, here comes my 5-year-old, not being very rational. And we usually just kind of blow this off. Well, I want you to think about this for a second. That's someone's younger self showing up in their body. because there was something that happened at that age that reverted them. I'm going to give you an example. I was coaching someone, and suddenly they began to act like a middle schooler, just a grown person, but just like really just defiant. I taught middle school for 7 years. I love them. Defiant, just like really having a hard time. And I know that this particular age development is when they're having a hard time like that, there's something bothering them. And instead of saying, hey, you're in trouble for this, that, and the other, it's like, hey, what's going on? And when I was coaching this client, I just said, I want to talk to adult Bill. And all of a sudden there was a pause. And what happened is that while I was talking to him, he went into a trauma response around when his dad had taken his life. He had no idea, but it was a knee-jerk reaction when he had certain feelings. He went back to that time. That's called younger selves. That's quite amazing. Our bodies are so fascinating, what they can do for us. And so, with younger selves, the tip and tool I'm sharing with you is you need to go back and talk to that kid. And this has worked for me so many times. You need to go back and talk to that kid and ask that kid what it wants. What do you want? Do a meditation, ask them what they want, write it down. I use writing and say, you can have everything you want. If it's a Ferris wheel in the middle of the living room, absolutely. But what you ask them is that I need you to stay here. I got me. I got me. I need you to stay here. It is a magical exercise, and it comes from Bonnie Lonsberry's The Map of Abundance. And everything that is in the book, The Truth About Trauma, came from healing practitioners who worked with me. I'm so grateful for all of the people who poured love into me so that I can follow this path that's lit up to help other people have more joy in their life. So I hope that was helpful for you. Um, Lisa Collins, Dr. Lisa Collins, The Truth About Trauma. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me, Dr. Lisa, on Facebook. And you can find me at my website, Lisa Y. Collins. And I wish you as much happiness as you can stand. Bye for now.